Good evening, everyone. This is Winston. I hope you're all doing well. 2019 is going to be a fantastic year for the Rising Tides charity. We're so excited to have you. John F. Kennedy said many years ago, probably over 50 years ago, that a rising tides lift all boats. I may not be getting the quote accurately, but the essence is that we're all here to help each other. And part of the reason why we've created this charity is to do that. This year, our focus is very, very, very direct. Our goal is to help every single person with their creative dreams. A lot of us are hurting out there right now, for whatever reason. We live in a time in the world where everything is at our door, that we can access everything. But at the same time, being able to access everything creates stressors that we've never seen before. And we still have a propensity in certain pockets of the world to hurt each other. And our mission specifically is to spread the fact that we are all created by God and we all have the ability to create. God the creator, the ultimate creator, allowed us to be able to create beautiful things on this earth to help each other. That's it. I know it's a tough message for those who may not believe, and I'm not saying you should believe in God one way or the other, but that's the fact. Whether you believe in a God or anything, you are here to create something. We still consume things, but we're also here to create things. So this year is going to be a phenomenal year. We've got so many things happening. You probably can hear my voice, the level of exhaustion that's happening. This is only the beginning of the year. So super jazzed to have you. Look at our website. We need your help. Every bit that you give to our organization allows us to be able to do what we need to do. Our goal is to have our events and to not have to charge anybody for it. But the only way that we do it is by getting your support. So please go to risingtidescharity.org. See some of the great things we have there. Today we thought we'd do something special. So after my voice, you will hear several of the people who joined the podcast last year and talk about what was that one creative thing that would get someone going, or someone who hasn't been creative to spark that again, or someone who's been waiting for happen to reignite it. So you'll hear from many awesome people. You'll hear from Casey Ashley, Ivory Shields, Megan Coker, Elise Davis, Amy McCoy, Keisha Johnson, Dat Paxton, and there may be someone inside of there that I did not recall. But you'll hear brief snippets from each one of these wonderful people about what is that one thing that you can do. And the cool thing is that you'll never hear the exact same thing amongst all of these people. We have an unbelievable great slate of podcasts and engagements this year, so look forward to that. And after you hear these messages from these great people who decided to join us, then I'll be back and I'll share some things about our future. Thank you all, and listen up to this great talk from some of our friends.
One that, just takes creativity, serious, and I think we all need that outlet. All of us are creative in our own right. It's just, some have it more natural than others, but we all have that creative side to us, and we have to take time out in the day or in the night, whenever, to make sure that we are jumping into that creative side. We all have to do it. We all have to have that outlet as well. So that's very, very important. I know some of the most, introverted people that are some of the most creative people.
That's right.
And you wouldn't even know. Some of those people that don't say anything at the table are some of the most naturally funny people that you'll ever meet. So my message to most people would just be, don't be afraid to be yourself. When I'm in classes and I'm talking to my groups, I always tell them it's a safe zone. If you're a creative person, if you're in this creative world, you're not normal, and we don't want to be normal, and it's okay. So I never try to be normal. I never try to be like the person next to me, and I think that's important for us all to know. We're all a bit strange, so.
That is awesome. It's great to have you. This is a question we ask of all of our guests, and again, we thank you so much, and I'm going to thank you one more time after you answer the question, is that if someone today, and they wish to be more creative in their life, and say they're in a rut of some kind. They're just doing the routine task every single day, and they say, you know what, I used to write, or I used to draw or paint or something, and I want to get back to that. What's one bit of advice you would give them?
Oh, that's a great question. What I would suggest is meditating for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes.
5 minutes
every day.
Every day.
Just 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes.
That is so phenomenal. I've begun that practice myself. I call it quiet time because it allows me to do other things like read, scripture and other things. But I think it's very similar to a meditative practice. And so you're right. I tell you, when you start your day off that way, I tell you, all of the things that come in your day, they don't have the same weight.
No, they do not. Absolutely. Everything feels lighter. And oftentimes, one thing I've learned with meditation, when you're consistent with it, when you're consistent with your practice of meditation, oftentimes you'll get instructions about what you need to do. Something that, if you're not meditating, you need to make a decision about. It takes you 2-3 days to come up with a decision. If you're meditating, it'll come to you automatically. You've expended so much energy trying to figure out the answer, when oftentimes you meditate, the answer just comes right to you.
Yeah, you're right. I think that it helps to give us clarity, where the rest of our lives these days, we have inundated with so much other stuff, it can make it noisy or cloudy.
Right, and because if you're pulled away from the things that you used to love to do, there's something going on internally that you've got to fix first.
That's exactly right.
And that meditation definitely helps with that.
It has been so amazing to have you join us today.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
I hope that you can be part of our group again.
Absolutely.
We will be looking forward to you all over Atlanta, including your YouTube station, everywhere. And with that being said, it's just been great to have you, Ivory. We will talk to you soon. And once again, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me, Winston. It was a pleasure.
As it relates to your creativity, tap into it. Explore. Always be willing to explore the unknown. It's a journey. It definitely helps you, within the whole, if you're into fashion, you're into building apps, you're into whatever it is, try it out. It's like, keep working at it, keep doing it until you get that feel good moment. So embrace it, keep working at it, you'll get better with time. And if you need anything, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Keisha. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for what you're doing in the community and what you seek to do. I appreciate you and your vision.
Thank you.
Help them move forward, and that's going to help your craft move, because when you see that you help them, it's going to give you confidence. You're going to say, I helped that person succeed. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do it too. I got this. We're going to do this together. You don't have to tell anybody that you helped them. Just do it.
Wow.
Don't make it a big thing. You don't need to be recognized for it. You don't need to have a thank you. If your heart's in the right place, it was meant to be. And so when you have all those things, your passions are gonna succeed, because why wouldn't they?
Yeah. That is so inspirational. Thank you so much for sharing that. Everyone that's listening out there, make sure you keep your light on.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep,
yes,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, keep your light on, everyone. I don't know. I'm going to say that to the next 10 people I meet. Just arbitrary people. I'm like, hello, how are you? Keep your light on.
Yo, is your light on? You keep that light on.
That's right. Keep it on. Keep it bright.
I saw your light off yesterday.
That's right. Keep it bright. Is your light dimming? So,
you need a light bulb?
That's right. Let's make sure we turn that on. So
turn that on.
Megan, this has been a blast. I really appreciate it. I look forward to us doing this again. For all of those who are listening out there, please subscribe to this podcast and play this over and over again, as well as all of the other individuals that have been part of this so far. Go to risingtidescharity.org. You'll hear more about our messages. We've got shows that are coming up and other things to really promote this ideal about creative inspiration. So make sure that you are there, because to Megan's point, it's really about you and how we can help you. So thank you all. Thanks again, Megan. Everyone, take care. Out there who are aspiring to be creative, or they're thinking about what they should do next, any thoughts and words that you'd like to share with anyone in our audience about that?
Definitely continue to educate yourself, develop your craft, and then go to where creatives are, whether it's networking events, premieres, anything like that. I'm humongous on finding events around Atlanta. So I'm constantly on Instagram and Facebook looking for events, looking at different hashtags, and just start, like I said, develop your craft, and build relationships, because that's what it all boils down to. You will not get a job, you will not get hired unless the person knows, likes, and trusts you. So, and you show that. You show your worthiness of being known and liked and trusted by building relationships. So
that is great. That is such great words of wisdom for us all. We're all here created to create things, and part of that creation is for us to work and to help each other, and relationships are a key piece of that. So thank you for thank you for joining. I would encourage all of those who are listening today to take heed to the things that Elise shared with us today. She is a wonderful spirit. In this world, you can see spirit. You can almost see the aura of people around you, and she is just definitely doing that. For the audience there today, please make sure you subscribe or give us feedback. We are available on iTunes. We use a service that once we upload our podcast, it goes directly to our social media. So you can check us out on Facebook and give us feedback and join our cause. Atlanta is too dope. So if you wanted to share something with those who are wanting to be creative or to take their creativity to the next level, what's your one bit of advice or comment to them?
Know without a shadow of a doubt that you are already great. Just know that, and no matter what happens, if you get the role or not, if you bomb the audition or not, that you are great without a doubt already. You are made that way. And there's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to that. So that's what I would leave.
That is beautiful. It really is. So thanks again for those on the audience. Dap Paxton, he is one of the dopest brothers in Atlanta. If you live in Atlanta, you probably know him, or you will know him at some point. If you don't, come to Atlanta so you can meet him. He's just that on point. The Rising Tides Charity is so glad to have you, Dap. We're hopefully we can have you again, especially as we continue to grow the organization. We'd love to have you in the future, part of this podcast and some of the other events that we're having. So, speaking of that, for everyone who's listening today, we are really gearing up for 2019. So look for some information. If you're not on our email list, go to risingtidescharity.org and put your name in, because we will be having some free webinars starting in December and January, and that'll be culminating with our big event that we'll be having in the mid part of next year. We'll really be getting a lot of creatives together. So look for more news on that. We are excited to start to make sure that everyone in the world knows how awesome the Atlanta community is, and that not that this is great, but we're here to help each other. So with that being said, Dap, again, thanks for joining us today. We wish you all the best. We know we'll be in contact with you, and thank you for being part of our community.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And again, I'm honored to be on your show.
Something that's distracting them. What one piece of advice would you give that person who's ready to like explode and to unleash their creativity?
I find that who I surround myself with greatly improves my productivity. So if there's something that I want to branch out and do, the best way to give me that extra kick or push is to surround myself with creative people. Because nothing inspires you to do something like other people who are taking the leap as well. So get around other creative people. That's the best piece of advice I can give you.
That is so on point, and we hope that would be logical to many people, but the reality is probably not. But you're right; those we surround ourselves with really inspire us. So that's great advice, Amy. It's been phenomenal to have you on the podcast. For those of you who are listening to us today, remember we're on iTunes and Podbeam, and we actually share this on social media, so you can listen to us directly from Facebook and on YouTube. We are very excited about what the Rising Tides charity is undertaking. We are really focused on helping people who are going through some level of stress or distress or confusion about what they should do with their creativity, to say, this is the time, whether you're 15, whether you're 75, or somewhere in between, and you say, I need to do this, I need to get it going, I need to take that path. Now that you've had a chance to listen in to those great colleagues, and I want to thank all of them for participating in these podcasts, I wanted to talk to you about kind of the future of what's going to happen. So we're going to have the podcast continue with many great artists and creators all around Atlanta. What we're also going to incorporate is an interim podcast. So one podcast will be a person where you'll hear them share their creative journey, and what's happening with them and what the future might look like to them from a creative perspective. We'll also be incorporating something new, and that'll be around specifically what are some of the ways or some of the tools or environments they use in order for them to be creative. So there'll be kind of an off episode between those episodes where we talk to a creator, where I'll share some of the tools that I use, and then we'll also talk to them about some of the tools that they use. So we'll be talking about, and the genesis of this has come from me really spending a lot of time finding out ways for me to be productive and effective in life. So for those of you who know me well, know that I do things. So I've got a day job where I support the biggest P&L I've ever had in my life. It's just it's an unbelievable blessing. It's about 10 times more than the previous P&L that I've ever had any responsibility for. And I also have a strong focus about continuing to be creative and being in the creative community. And I've got my spiritual life as well as my family life. So all of these things have to be managed and balanced. And so I've become a big proponent of using tools and systems in order to do that. So I've been blessed to find a lot of creative people or productivity experts like Carl Pullein and Francesco D'Alesso and Mike Vardy and so many others who kind of share that in their own podcasts about the productivity systems that they use. So I thought that we would incorporate into the Rising Tides podcast some of the tools that people use to be creative. So, for example, I use Evernote in order to capture many things, and so there'll be a podcast in regards to how I use that. I use Scrivener for all of my writing work, and so I'll be talking about that. And then I use other tools to manage tasks and file management like Dropbox and Todoist and other things. And so I wanted to start to incorporate that. So you, as a person who's listening to this podcast, you'll not only get the benefit of hearing great people who are doing amazing things all around the city and around the world, but you'll also start to think about tools and ways that you can potentially figure out how do you take that and how do you balance it to make sure that you're getting all of the different roles that you have in life and getting it to be managed. So years ago, one of the things that kicked me off was Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in that book and in that system, he talked a lot about the roles that we all play, because I think there's this almost shameful thing where someone says, well, I only do this and I just focus on this, and then hence anyone who's trying to balance all those other things are less effective than I. And that may work for that person who's saying that, but for most of us, we've got that balance between being an effective significant other or spouse, being a member of our spiritual community, being a father or mother if we are blessed to have children. We've also got friendships and relationships. I was sharing this recently, and this is something I probably heard from a pastor, is that when someone has got to the last point in their life, no one remembers stuff. No one's going to be in their last moments of life and say, I really love the fact that I had an iPhone 8, or that I had a 4K TV, or that I had a really nice car. The only thing you're going to remember of any value is who did you love and who was in your life. That's the only thing you're going to remember of any consequence. And I'm saying that as if I know this, but every evidence that I've had of someone when they get to that point in their life where they reflect upon what has been the most monumental, it's all the same refrain. It's all the same story, that those who they've loved are the most important thing. And so with that being said, one of the things that I got from that book that's been so impactful for the last 20 years or so since I've read it is that those roles are important in order for us to figure out how do we make sure that we're maximizing everything in our life, how that there's no opportunity costs lost within there. I don't, at least for me personally, I wouldn't want to be this guy who ends up being a billionaire, but I don't know my son and he doesn't know me. I would trade the billions of dollars for the love of him. Point blank. I just would. So in those episodes or those podcasts in between the ones where we talk to one of our creative ones, now keep in mind that those ones will be short. There's so many people who do so many amazing things that could talk for 45 minutes about those items. I will just be giving you snippets from my view in regards to how did I use those things in order to get my productivity going. So I really want you to think about that. So. And hopefully you'll be able to ask some questions. Hopefully you'll be able to really think about that. There may be some systems that you'll suggest that you'll put in the comments or the notes somewhere, and that'll help us all from a creative perspective, get our juices going. 2019 is our year. So if you're listening to my voice, wherever you are, this is your year in order to do your thing. So if you were going to write that book, if you were going to write that play, you were going to move to that house, you were going to tell that story, it's your year to do it. I'm a heavy believer in goal setting, not just because of goal setting. Sometimes that word just can turn someone off if they're not into doing that. But the reason why I use that term, at least for me, is that I know when I accomplish a goal, quotation marks in the air, that when I do that, then there have been some people who I've either learned from, that have helped, or that have created a bonded relationship through that goal process. That's what that's the more important things of the goals to me than just a thing that I did because I wanted it, because I wanted to do that. It's those other things that come from it, those cascading effects, those rising tides. Those are the things that have the most impact in the future. This year's a big year for those of you who have never seen me face to face, or is this your first time hearing me. This year, within 6 months, I turned 50 years old. Here comes the 50, the big 50. And do I feel 50 years old? 95% of the time, I do not. I feel the same way like I did when I was 25. I got the same exuberance. That other 5% I feel is when I'm trying to do something like run. I can't run anymore. I can't run. I can't do anything from a physical perspective the same way I did when I was 25. But my mindset is the same. And that is because I learned a long time ago, I witnessed people who were successful. And one of the things that people that were successful were doing that I've tried to emulate was that they were constantly learning about something in the world. They didn't go, oh yeah, well that's for young people. Or, oh yeah, that's for those people over in this city. Or that's for these people over on this side of the world. They were like, no, I gotta learn it too. And I think that's one of the things that's helping me to feel like life has got such a long way ahead, because there's so much to learn and so much to give. So this is Winston. This is Winston A. Wilson. Stick with us. Join our podcast. On my birthday, I'll be revealing my middle name for those of you who don't know it, and reframing the podcast along that. Everybody that I meet, I love. I love first. I trust first. Have I been burned by doing that? Yes, a lot. I've been people who've tried to rip me off or tried to steal from me. But that is the minority versus the bounty of deposits and beautiful relationships that I've been privileged to be around. So, Rising Tides Charity this year. Check out our website. Our board members are on there. They are phenomenal people. You know, if you're interested in joining us in any capacity, please reach out to us. info@risingtidescharity.org is the email. You've also got Facebook, where there's an ability to join right from the Facebook site. You'll see us on Instagram at Rising Tides Charity. We've also got a Twitter account at Rising Tides Charity. So please join us on all of these different ways. When you see somebody today, instead of saying, "How you doing? What's up with you?" Or, is or the typical things, the ways that we greet each other, ask them this. Say, "Hey, what are you creating today?" And the second question is, who are you creating it with? What are you creating today, and who are you creating it with? And the reason why to ask that question is that you, and every single conversation you have with a person, should be to engage them and to learn from them, like I said earlier. And if you ask that question, you're going to learn something that you didn't know by just having a response like fine or good or okay. Everything's good. Family's good. Everything's good. No, you're going to have a wonderful, engaging conversation. And the conversation might be not something you weren't prepared for, which is another opportunity to learn. So again, this is Winston. Get down with this. 2019 is going to be great. 2020 is going to be bigger than 2019. So the foundation is going to be set here. Get down with us. Love you all. I will talk to you all very soon.